concept than what we think intimacy is and what the world tells us intimacy is. Lots of times it becomes like a sexual thing and just a physical thing. But there is a lot more to intimacy than just that. When we were talking about this, when we decided that I was going to give this talk, and it was a lot more. Well, I was like okay with it at first, and then when I was doing spiritual direction, like this past week, what we're doing right now, I was like, oh gosh, this is really intimidating. I don't think I know what this is. But it's great. It's the Lord's just helping me learn. So, like I said, intimacy, a lot of times we think of it as just something physical, but we were made for intimacy with the Lord. We all know that we were made in His image and likeness, and we were made for that deep union with Christ. This weekend, we're here together as sisters in Christ, as women, and we're gonna have time. We have time to share with each other, but also, even more so, we really encourage you to go deeper with the Lord. Like I said, doing spiritual direction, I thought I had gone deeper, but I realized that there was a lot more to it than I had thought or even knew. And so, as I was reflecting even more so on intimacy and what my relationship looks like with the Lord in respect to intimacy, it was very interesting because I went back to the first time that I really heard about this was, I think it was one of our women's retreats. It was in college, and we used to have a women's retreat at the end of the year. Started, I think it was my junior year was the first year they had it, and I forget, this woman who was giving the talk, so beautiful, she's really great, and she was talking about being romanced by the Lord. It was my junior year. And I remember thinking, like, I don't really know what that means, so like, I don't know how you do that. And at that age, I mean, you're thinking about like boyfriends or like in getting married, and you're like, okay, I don't know what that means. And when she was talking about how we were made for this intimate relationship with the Lord, and that what we need to do is to ask Him to romance us. And she said, be very careful when you ask that question when you pray, because He will grant it to you if you ask Him for it. And I remember, so this must have been May, end of my junior year, and so I started praying with it, and I started asking the Lord to romance me and to help me change my life around, and I just kept asking Him for it. Nothing was really happening, I think because I still didn't really know what it meant. So I just started asking Him to help open my heart so I could understand it. And it was after Easter Vigil. When I was in college, we would all go to Easter Vigil together, and then we would have a big party afterwards, and till like 2 in the morning, and then we'd go. Our priest would let us use the chapel in the rectory, and we would do praise and worship for a couple hours. And I remember being in praise and worship. It was then like 2:30 in the morning, and so you're exhausted, you've been up all day, you was at the Easter Vigil, and I was crying Easter Vigil, which is beautiful, and so you're emotional, and the way that he had it set up was, we were doing praise and worship out here, and there was like a wall, and so the tabernacle was behind us, so we couldn't directly see Him, but the light was on, and we knew He was there. And I remember kneeling, and just really asking the Lord to romance me, and just really entering into prayer, and I'll never forget this moment. And I just like got this sense. I don't even know how to explain it to you, but it's almost the best way I can explain it is like when you're little and you have a crush on this boy in another class, and he comes into your classroom, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Your heart is pounding, and you're sweating, and you're like, you have all these things running through your mind, and you just don't even know what's going on. You can't handle it, and I just remember like getting that love for Him and thinking like, oh gosh, it's like He's in the other room, and I can't really see Him, but I know He's there, so I was like really excited about it, like a little giddy little kid. And I just kept saying, like, romance me, and I remember just like all of a sudden I couldn't stand anymore. I couldn't kneel. Like I had to sit down. I felt like I was gonna faint, and I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know what happened, and I was kind of freaking out a little bit, and I was like, maybe it's just hot in here. I was like trying to rationalize it in my mind, and praise God, one of my really good friends, he was sitting next to me, and he was kind of like, okay, and I was like, fine. And he was very aware of like what was going on, I guess, but I remember talking to my best friend afterwards, and because I really prayed with it a lot afterwards, and I talked to her because I didn't know what happened, I didn't know who to talk to about it, and she was like, I think you need to keep it as a story between you and the Lord, and just really pray with it, and if He wants you to share it with someone, you can. But she really helped me just to kind of try to enter deeper into that. And so since then, I've tried to go deeper. Of course, you have your ups and downs and your battles and stuff like that, but it's something that I try to go back to, and I try to remember for myself that is the intimate relationship I need to have with the Lord to the best of my ability all the time. I should be thinking about Him all the time, and I should be excited to talk to Him all the time, and there should be this connection between the two of us that nothing needs to be said. My heart just melts when He's around me, which is all the time, and we have this thirsting for God, and my heart should be aching for Him. And so easy we can get distracted by the things around us, and because we're always busy, we always have things to do, we always have a to-do list that doesn't end, and things are always coming up, and we have stress, and we're trying to help other people, and all these things can come into this relationship with God, but He always calls us back to that, and we can have hope in that He's going to bring us back to that point. And it's going to be different for all of us, but Lauren was talking earlier about just telling the Lord certain things and kind of guarding it, and we forget that He wants us to be real with Him. He wants to know how we're feeling and what we're doing, and whether we're angry or happy, and but even more so, we have to surrender and obey God in order to get this intimacy. We can't expect intimacy just to come but we have to desire it, and we have to be obedient to God in order to get it. We have to surrender fully to Him in order to be able to truly enter into this intimacy that He has destined us for. It's a love relationship, and we must do it not out of duty, because it's something we're required to do. As I said, He has made us for that, but not as a requirement. We need to desire it from our innermost being. Because we already have it. We already have it. We just have to learn how to tap into it, in a sense, I guess, for lack of better words. But I just want to read you this quote from St. Jose Maria Escriva. If you know me, I love it. It's all my dogs. God has a right to ask us, are you thinking about me? Do you look to me as your support? Do you seek me as the light of your life, as your shield, as your all? God has a right to ask us, are you thinking about me? Do you look to me as your support? Do you seek me as the light of your life, as your shield, as your all? St. Augustine said, the greatest romance one can find is to fall in love with God. Now, I'm sure some of us have maybe been in love before, or you think about the love you have for your family and maybe your spouse or your kids and the people in your life. So think about the love that you have for those people. And I would encourage you to figure out what that means. To maybe pray with this. The greatest romance, so greater than all of those, the greatest romance one can find is to fall in love with God. To fall in love with God.
surrender to Him? Do you obey the things that He asks you to do? Do you have that intimate relationship with the Lord that He has destined you for?
I want to read you guys a little bit of a reflection to kind of help you enter into, to possibly visualize this intimate relationship a little bit deeper. So I would encourage you to close your eyes, you can write whatever you want to do to enter into this, but really try to place yourself